Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, I will be continuing with the chapter-wise important questions for history subject. Already I have made videos of important questions up till chapter 5.2. If any one of you want to see that, the link of that playlist I will give in the description box. You can go and refer to that. Now in today's video, I will be talking about the important questions of chapter 5.3, that is Rise of Marathas. Before going into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends. Also, click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us go into today's video, that is chapter wise important questions. 5.3 Rise of Marathas. 1 mark and 2 mark questions I will just read and explain. 5 mark question I'll be writing points and explain. Okay, so let us move on to the first question. Who was the founder of the Maratha kingdom? Answer: Shivaji. What was the title of Shivaji? Chhatrapati. In which year did the coronation ceremony of Shivaji take place? 1674 CE. What is meant by Chowth? The neighboring areas of Shivaji's kingdom, which were not under the direct rule of Shivaji, had to give 1/4 of their land revenue collected to him. This was called as Chowth. So basically, Chowth is a land revenue introduced by Shivaji, which is 1/4. When and where was Shivaji born? 1627 in Shivaneri. Who were the parents of Shivaji? Shaji Bhonsle and Jijabai. Name 2 persons who influenced Shivaji, Ram Das and Tukaram. Which were the 2 important taxes collected by Shivaji? Chowth and Sardeshmukhi. Now, the 5 mark question is, give an account of the administrative system of Shivaji. So this is an important 5 mark question. So question is, give an account of the administrative system of Shivaji. Administrative system of Shivaji. So let us see how we can answer this 5 mark question. Point by point I will be explaining. So regarding the administrative system of Shivaji, Shivaji organized the administration on an efficient line. So as an introduction for the answer, you can write that Shivaji had a very efficient system of administration. He organized the administration on a very efficient line. Efficient line. He was the sole head of the government and all the authorities were concentrated on him. So Shivaji was the sole head of the government, that is king was the sole head of the government and all the authorities were concentrated on him. Now regarding the people who helped Shivaji in administration, he had a council of 8 ministers. He had a council of 8 ministers and these 8 ministers were together called as Ashtapradhanas. Ashtapradhanas. Ashta means 8. Okay, Ashtapradhanas were the 8 ministers who helped Shivaji in administration. 1 or 2 ministers' names you can write as an example because it's a 5 mark question. You can't write all the 8 names. So you can write 1 or 2 names. Example, Peshwa, the Prime Minister, Amatya, the Finance Minister, etc. So like that, 2 or 3 names you can write as example. Mantri, Chronicler, Peshwa, Amatya, Mantri, etc. were the ministers who were included in the Ashtapradhanas who helped Shivaji in administration. Now, other than these 8 ministers, there were 18 departments in the government. 18 departments were there in the government and these departments were under one minister. And all of them worked under the supervision of the king, because finally the sole head is the king. So the 8 ministers, Ashtapradhanas were there, 18 departments under ministers were there. Finally, all of them worked under the administration or the guidance of the king. So that was about the basic administrative system, not administration, central administration of Shivaji. Now, after central administration, next subheading you can write about the provincial administration. Okay, provincial administration. Okay. So, regarding the provincial administration, Shivaji divided the kingdom into 4 provinces. The kingdom itself was divided into 4 provinces. They were called as Swarajya. Okay, Swarajya. Now, to take care of this each province, a viceroy called as Sar Deshmukh was appointed. Okay, a viceroy called as Sar Deshmukh was appointed to take care of each of the provinces. So, Shivaji kingdom was divided into 4 provinces, Swarajya, and a viceroy called as Sar Deshmukh was appointed for each provinces. Now, Swarajya was subdivided into a number of prans or groups, and the districts were called as Desh. Districts were called as Desh, and the head of the Desh was Deshmukh. Okay, so the empire kingdom was divided into 4 provinces called as Swarajya. Viceroy Sar Deshmukh took care of the provinces. Swarajya was divided into prans, and prans were further divided into districts called as Desh, and the head of the Desh was called as Deshmukh. The district was again subdivided into, so here district or Desh was again subdivided into Parganas. And the officer who took care of Parganas was called as Desai. Swarajya taken care by Sar Deshmukh. Then next is Prans. After Prans it is Desh taken care by Deshmukh, and after Desh it is Parganas taken care by Desai. Officers were called as Desai. And finally, villages was the smallest unit of administration. Village was the smallest unit of administration. So this was the provincial administration, that is how the empire was divided. So this was about provincial administration. So in the 5-mark answer, first heading was about central administration, second heading was about provincial administration. Next is about revenue system. Revenue system of Shivaji. So considering the revenue system, Shivaji classified the land according to the fertility. Okay, land was classified according to the fertility. And after that, land revenue, after classifying the land according to fertility, revenue was fixed at 30% of the produce and later increased to 40%. And this revenue can be paid either in cash or kind. In 2 different ways revenue can be paid. Either it can be paid in the form of cash or in the form of kind. So revenue, the land was divided according to the fertility, and revenue was fixed at 30% and later increased to 40%. Revenue could be paid in cash or kind. And whenever there was a natural calamity, land revenue was exempted. During the time of any natural calamity, okay, during flood or famine or all these things, the revenue was exempted. So that was a very good thing done by Shivaji. Other than land revenue, there were 2 other kind of taxes or military contributions collected by Shivaji. 2 other kind of taxes collected by Shivaji, that is, first one is Chaut and second one was Sardeshmukhi. 2 other types of taxes collected by Shivaji, that is Chaut and Sardeshmukhi. So this was the revenue system of Shivaji. Okay, so central administration, provincial administration, revenue system. Now the next point we have to see is military system. Okay, the military system. Regarding the military system of Shivaji, his kingdom was a military state and king was the head of military. Head of military. We already know that king was a sole head, so he was the head of the military, and under the king there was Senapati. Senapati. Under him Senapati was working. And the military consisted of infantry. Infantry was there. Cavalry, artillery, camels, and elephants. So these were the different groups in the military. Infantry were there, cavalry were there, artillery, camels, and elephants. And soldiers were not permitted to take women to the battlefield. And they were not allowed, the soldiers were not allowed to ill-treat women, merchants, Brahmins, cows, and agriculturists or farmers in the battlefield, etc. in the battlefield. So they were not allowed to ill-treat women, merchants, Brahmins, cows, farmers, etc. were not allowed to be ill-treated by soldiers in the battlefield. So that was a very important thing in the military of Shivaji. And there were different grades of military officers. Officers were of different grades. Okay, so here if we see in military, officers were of different grades. Example, you can write example: Nayaks, Havildars, etc. So these were the different grades of officers were there. And Shivaji also maintained a powerful navy of 200 ships. He maintained a powerful navy of 200 ships. And Kanoji Angre was a famous admiral of Marathas. So these points has to be included regarding the military of Shivaji. Now the last subheading in your 5-mark answer will be judicial system. Judicial system. This will be the last subheading. King was the highest court of appeal. Okay, highest court of appeal. As I said again, king was a sole head. In military also he was a head. In judicial system also king was the highest court of appeal. And civil cases were decided by village panchayats. Regarding the civil cases, it was decided by village panchayat. And criminal cases. Regarding criminal cases, it was decided by district officers and governors. District officers and governors. Okay, so king was the highest court of appeal. Civil cases were decided by village panchayat and criminal cases were decided by district officers and governors. And the judgment of the village courts had royal recognition. And the person who was responsible for the civil and military justice, he was called as Nyayadhisha. Nyayadhisha, he was responsible for the civil and military justice. Okay, Nyayadhisha was responsible for the civil and military justice. So, regarding judicial system, king was the highest court of appeal. Civil cases were decided by village panchayat and criminal cases were decided by district courts, district officers and governors. And the judgment of the village courts had royal recognition, and Nyayadhisha was responsible for the civil and military justice. So all these points will come under the administration of Shivaji. So central administration, provincial administration, revenue system, military system and judicial system. All these points together makes the answer for the question. So we'll just go through the points once more. Give an account of the administrative system of Shivaji. Administrative system, central government. Shivaji organized his administration on efficient lines. He was the sole head of the government and all authorities was concentrated in him. He had a council of 8 ministers known as Ashtapradhanas. Example, Peshwa Prime Minister, Amatya Finance Minister, Mantri Chronicler, etc. There were 18 departments in the government which were under various ministers, and all of them worked under the supervision and guidance of the king. Provincial administration, Shivaji divided his kingdom into 4 provinces which were called as Swarajya. A viceroy called Sir Dkpuc was appointed for each province. Swarajya was subdivided into number of prants and the districts were called as Desh, and the head of Desh was Deshmukh or Deshpande. The districts were again subdivided into Parganas. They were looked after by an officer called as Desai. Village assembly was the smallest unit of administration, and Shivaji abolished granting of Jahangir to his officers and began to pay salaries in cash. Regarding revenue system, Shivaji classified land according to its fertility and yield. The land revenue was fixed at 30% of the produce and later increased to 40%. Revenue had to be paid either in cash or kind, and whenever there was any natural calamity, land revenue was exempted. 2 other kinds of taxes or military contributions were collected by Shivaji. They were Chaut and Sardeshmukhi. Regarding the military system, Shivaji's kingdom was a military state. King was the head of the military and under him there was the Senapati. The military of Shivaji consisted of infantry, cavalry, artillery, camels and elephants. Soldiers were not permitted to take women to the battlefield. They were not to ill-treat women, merchants, Brahmins, cows and agriculturists. There were different grades of military officers like Naiks, Havildars, etc. He also maintained a powerful navy of 200 ships. Kanoji Angre was a famous admiral of the Marathas. Judicial system. King was the highest court of appeal. Civil cases were decided by village panchayat and criminal cases by district officers and governors. The judgment of the village courts had royal recognition. Nyayadisha was responsible for civil and military justice. So all these were the points regarding administration of Shivaji. If you want detailed explanation of any of these answers, you can go to chapter-wise videos. In the playlist, you can go to chapter-wise videos. And if you want important questions regarding chapter 1 to 5.2, that playlist link I will be giving in the description box. So in case of any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and shares will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the coming video. Thank you for watching.